life cycle of visualforce and lightning. Let me give you the basic structure. We had a visualforce page here. We had a Apex side server. So it is a visualforce page. And this is a Apex side controller. Or maybe a server. For that matter, I can give server. It is a client. Now, first, client is requesting a page. Client is requesting a page. Client requested a page. When a client requested a page, server will be sending the page in the form of HTML. So what type of page we are getting? From server, first time the page will be loaded. HTML. You requested, server is sending the page back to the client in the form of HTML. When you are receiving the code in the form of HTML, and the page is going to be created. First time the page is loaded. Once the page is loaded, I am going to get the page. Let us say I have a page like this. In the page, I am entering some data. I entered the data. When you requested a page, server has given HTML that has rendered on the browser. Now what the server is sending? It is rendering the code in the form of HTML. Server is rendering the code in the form of HTML. Am I right or wrong? So if you go to visualforce architecture, if I go to visualforce architecture, let us see this. Now, how the page is going to be rendered here? From the server, we are getting the page in the form of HTML. So that HTML is given on the client's browser. So when you request for any page, the server is going to render the page in the form of HTML to the client. So we are getting a HTML code which is rendered in the browser. Right? The same thing is happening here. When you requested, the HTML code came and the page is rendered, and we got the page. I entered the data, name equal to Satish, clicked on save. When I click on save, the request is going to the server. Now how this request is sent? From the client, whatever the data you are submitting, whatever the request you are making, that will be sent in the form of HTTP post method. From the visualforce page, if you are entering the data and submitting, from the visualforce page, if you are entering the data and submitting, or if you are requesting for any other page, any other navigation, it is sending the request to the server in the form of, HTTP post method. So whatever I have requested, it is submitted to the server in the form of HTTP post. Then the server will receive the request, process the logic. The server will receive the request, process the logic, and it is going to give you result in the form of again. From the server, whatever the result is coming, again it is rendered in the form of HTML. So whatever the HTML we got, with that HTML what happened? The page is reloaded. The page is what? The page is reloaded. When I received HTML, removed. Once again, page is created with the name, this so. So actually what is getting changed here? Only the message need to be printed. But what is happening? When you request a when you request anything from the server is sending you in the form of HTML, so the entire page is reloaded. The entire page is reloaded. Now there is no need of reloading the entire page. If you reload one element, it is sufficient. But when you make a request to the server, it will go in the form of HTTP post, process the logic, whatever the response we are getting in the form of HTML. That HTML is going to reload the page. Reload the page. We can avoid this. You can ask me a question. We have re-render concept. We have action support. We have action function, remote action. By using this, we can avoid this reloading of page. That's what we have done in the visualforce. We have used, when I click on a button, re-render 1 and 2, action support, re-render, action function. All these are Ajax functionalities, right? Re-render, action support, action function, action polar, action region. All these are Ajax functionalities only. They are going to partially load the page. Then why you are going for Lightning? Every time it is not necessary that page will be reloaded. We also have a techniques in the visualforce which can avoid the complete loading of page. But the problem is, if it is 1 or 2 elements, I can write it. If there are group of functionalities there on the page, if there are group of functionalities on the page which are using this Ajax functionality, again the performance will be going down, because we are externally defining Ajax functionality to avoid reloading of the page. General behavior of the visualforce is reload. My natural behavior is reload. You are abstracting my natural behavior by using some external functionality like Ajax functionality, by using re-render, rendered, okay, action function, action. So if these functionalities are increasing on the page, then obviously my performance will get down, because that is not my natural behavior. My natural behavior is reload the page. Okay, you can abstract me from my natural behavior in 1 or 2 places, it's okay. But if you are applying too many functionalities and making it as asynchronous, then my natural performance will go down. That's what is the visualforce. So the general visualforce is what? Request the page. Page is coming in the form of HTML, loaded. When you are entering the data or requesting any action, go to the server in the form of HTTP post method, perform the operation, response will come back to you in the form of HTML. When the response is coming, reload the page. Reload the page. That is the natural behavior of visualforce. I told you, we can abstract the natural behavior by using some Ajax functionalities. But Salesforce is not giving built-in. You are applying those functionalities on the page and making us asynchronous. By default, page is what? Synchronous. You are applying Ajax functionalities and making them as asynchronous. I hope you are clear. This is the life cycle of your visualforce. But when you go to Lightning, same request. First time request. When you request anything, request. When you requested, first time the page will be loaded in the form of HTML only. First time when you call the page, in the Lightning also, first time when you call, it will be rendered in the form of HTML only. Once the page is loaded in the form of HTML, look at this. Here we have an application with the 2 components. Component 1. Now we had name, because Lightning application is going to run like a components. We have created like this. Then I clicked on save. When you clicked on save, when you click on this button, now the request will go to the server as Ajax functionality. Now the entire page is not getting submitted. Entire page is not getting submitted. It is going to the server in the form of what? Ajax. Request is going in the form of what? Ajax call. It is not in the form of HTTP. By default, natural behavior of Lightning is Ajax. In the visualforce, by default, natural behavior of visualforce is HTTP post. And if you want, you can get them into asynchronous mode by applying Ajax functionalities, or by using AngularJS, by using some Bootstrap, okay, or by using some scripting. You have to externally embed the scripting to get the behavior. But your Lightning by default behavior is Ajax. The framework by default behavior is Ajax, asynchronous. So because it's your natural behavior, there is no obstruction on your performance. Now when you make a request, the request will go to server, server will perform the operation, then result will come back. Whenever you make a Ajax call, the response will come in the form of JSN. In the Ajax call, the response will come in the form of JSN. Do you remember we have done Ajax functionality, sforce.connection.query? Do you remember that code? Where query result equal to sforce.connection. Now, how did you get the data? We told where records equal to query result dot get records. This is how we wrote the query. Do you remember that? Why we wrote that? Because the response is coming in the form of JSN. In the JSN, one of the element is record the data we want to get. So whenever you are making a Ajax call to the server, the response will be coming in the form of JSN. When the response is coming in the form of JSN, the page is not reloading because we are not getting HTML code. We are getting the JSN. The JSN will only refresh the element where it needs to be. Are you getting my point? Now, we are not getting the response in the form of HTML. We are getting the response in the form of JSON. Only the element where the data need to be modified, that element will be reloaded. So this is the element where we are going to reload operation success. It will not reload entire page. It will only refresh the element whose data is modified because it is Ajax call. So in the visualforce, request is going to the server in the form of HTTP post and getting the response in the form of HTML, which will reload the page in the client side. But when you go to the Lightning, now the request what you make, it will go in the form of Ajax call, and the response would be coming in the form of JSON, and the JSON will be replacing only the element whose data is changing. So by default, its behavior is asynchronous, because of which the performance of the application will increase. Right. So in the case, if you look at this, we are not discussing anything on the server side. We are not requesting anything on the server side. Let it be a visualforce or Lightning, server side operation remain the server side. The same Apex class, same triggers, same operation. So nothing is going to change in the server. Slightly few changes will be there, but 90% of the server side operations remain the same. But what is getting changed now is the client side operation. So the UI level is changing in the Classic and Lightning. If you look at the Classic and Lightning, major changes are in terms of UI. So whatever the work we are doing with visualforce, that work is getting replaced with the Lightning. But the server side operation remain same. Slight changes will be there, but okay, hardly 5 to 10% of changes. But most of the things are exactly the same what we are doing on server side. So what is getting changed? Client side operations are getting changed. So the Lightning basically dealing with what? Your Lightning development basically deal with changing the UI format. Now, why the advantage of going for this Lightning? Because I told it is asynchronous call. It is not going to be sending a request in the form of HTML post. It will be sending like Ajax. Re-rendering will be small. Only few elements will be re-rendered. Okay, we discuss advantage, but life cycle is clear. So basically, what is changing in the Lightning? when you're learning a lightning development, in terms of development, we are going to replace visualforce with lightning components. Visualforce with lightning component. You have visualforce component and creating a page. We have lightning application page, okay, and we are using lightning components. Visualforce page with visualforce components. We are building lightning application with lightning components. So UI is getting replaced. The server side operations still remain the same. I hope you are clear, right? Okay. This is the first story. That's what I have mentioned here. That's what I have shown in the first slide. Now let me give you first slide. Now look at this. So if you look at this, lightning, generally lightning is called SPA, not the other SPA. So single page application. Now in the single page application, SPA single page application. Now in this what I told, client and we have a server. Now initially we are requesting, sending a request to the server. Server is sending the response in the form of HTML. The page is open. Then I am going to enter my data or whatever the action you want to perform on client side and request a service. The requested service will go in the form of HTTP post. Form in the form of HTTP post, and the response will be coming in the form of HTML. That HTML will reload the page. I told you we can avoid it. We have a lot of components in the visualforce which can avoid. But you are externally applying those components to avoid it. Natural behavior is reload. But if you go to the lightning, what is the format of lightning? If you go to lightning, look at this. So client send a request, initial request. When you're sending an initial request to the server, we are sending an initial request. Once you're sending an initial request, it will go to the server. HTML is loaded here. Once the HTML is loaded, then I am going to enter the data, then submit. When you submit, the request is going in the form of AJAX. And the response is coming in the form of JSON. This is a JSON what I received. I hope I am clear with this, right? Okay. This is the general life cycle of your lightning and your visualforce. Okay. Then come back to the next one. How this architecture is designed, how the MVC model is going to be designed. Now when you are going for this, how the MVC model is designed. So if you go to this MVC model, look at the format again. When you go to the MVC model, the format is going to be like this. Generally, in the regular application, what is the MVC? Model, view, controller. We have a model, view, controller. In the regular classic, what is your model? In the classic, what is your model? Your model is your database, which is nothing but S objects. Then who is your controller? Controller is Apex. Right. Who is your view? So we are giving visualforce. From the visualforce, the request will go to the server, and the response will come from the server. This is a general MVC model of your classic application. Am I right? The view is visualforce or a page layout. We are going to create. In terms of development, no page layout. In terms of development, visualforce is the view. I am going to enter the data, goes to the server, which is Apex class, or a trigger, goes to the Apex, then communicate with the database, perform the operation, and give back to the user. This is the operation. So any operation you want to perform, it has to go to the server side, perform the operation, and come back. The same, if you go with the Lightning, in the Lightning, MVC model is going to be slightly different. Okay, I'll show you. In the Lightning, the MVC model is going to be slightly different. Look at this MVC model. This is the MVC model of Lightning. In the MVC model of Lightning, what is that? Your view, controller, storage. Now what was this? Model is your database. Controller is your Apex class. This is the server side. On the client side also, we have a view, HTML, which is a component. From this, it will go to the client side controller. So in the client side, we have controller data. Client side MVC is there, server side MVC. Overall application MVC is, this is the overall application. Client side MVC, in the client side we have one view, controller, and storage. In the client side itself we have view, controller, and storage. That's your data. Now, if this is unable to handle, if it need to interact with the data on the server, then the request will be sent to server side. First, what will happen? It will go to the client side controller. It will use the data from the client side, perform the operation. In case, if it want to perform any operation on server side data, then the request will go to the Apex class. Apex class will do it. So 80% of the work is done by whom? Client side controller. Who is your client side controller? JavaScript. Who is your client side database? JavaScript. We are storing the data on the client side using JavaScript. We are writing the controller operation on the client side with the JavaScript. So client side controller is defined with the JavaScript. Client side storage is defined with the JavaScript. Now, if I want to perform any operation on the server side, request will go to server side controller. Who is a server side controller? Apex class is the server side controller. So in the client side, what we have? The HTML, which is representing your page, controller, which is your JavaScript, then storage, which is your JavaScript. So storage is in the form of attributes. We store the data in the form of what? Attributes. So view, controller, storage on the client side. If it want to interact with the server side controller or database, request will go from client side controller to the server side controller. Let me give you clearly in a simple diagram. In the visualforce, when you click on a button, what will happen? It will go to Apex class. General. I can write a code. When you click on a button, go to JavaScript. From JavaScript call remote action. From JavaScript call action function that you are defining. But natural behavior is what? When you click on a button, it goes to the Apex class, perform the logic. But whereas in the Lightning, if I have a button like this, when I click on this button, it will go to client side controller. Who is this client side controller? Now, the client side controller will make a request to server side controller. So, directly from the page, I cannot call Apex class methods. If you want to call anything from the Apex or the database, you cannot make a direct call. You have to make a request to the client side. The JavaScript is going to call which is in Apex. So request will go to submit client side controller. Client side controller will take you to server side controller. Server side controller will give response back to the client side. The client side will display the response what we receive. So anything you are displaying on the page will be rendered from the client side controller only. The server side data what we are getting, that will not interact with the page directly, that will only interact with the client side controller. If a page want to communicate with server side, if the page want to retrieve the data from the server side, the page has to request the client side controller. Client side controller will go to server side controller, request the data, then display it in the page. So from component, client side controller to server side controller, server side controller to client side controller to page. In the visualforce, from component to server side controller to page. That is the basic difference of MVC between Lightning and Classic. I hope you are clear. So let us see these two diagrams in clear. Let me show you the quick overview of this. Now, basic, as I told you, single page application where the life cycle of the transaction is happening from client to server. Server is giving in the form of HTML. The page is loaded. Whatever the data we enter in the page, that will go in the form of HTTP post. Response will come in the form of HTML, which is going to reload. Whereas in the Lightning, you request a page and the page will come in the form of HTML, enter the data. When you click on submit, the request will go to the server in the form of AJAX. Why in the form of AJAX? Why in the form of AJAX? Because we are making a request to the server side using JavaScript. We are making a request to the server side using JavaScript. If you remember, I told you in the beginning classes, there is a concept called S controllers. Do you remember that? Before the visualforce, we used to use S controllers. I showed you one small project documentation. Right there, we used to use the same functionality. Now, whatever the S-Force toolkit you are using, exactly this what AJAX toolkit. Now, we are making a request from the client to JavaScript to Apex class. From JavaScript, how can you make a call to Apex class? Asynchronous. Remote action, what is that? Asynchronous. Action function, what is that? Asynchronous. Action support, what is that? Asynchronous. Okay, action region, what is that? Asynchronous. We are using those remote action, we are using those action function for the sake of running the operation asynchronous only. Are you getting? So from the JavaScript, we were calling a remote action, it is asynchronous. Why? Because it is an AJAX call. Here also what is happening? When you click on a component, it is going to the JavaScript. JavaScript is making a call to server side controller, which is a AJAX call, which is a asynchronous call, which will be running independently. That is the reason why we went for remote actions. That is the reason why we went for action functions. The same thing here in the regular way, the same functionality is used. So from the form, if you submit, the request will go to client side. Client side will make a call to the server side. How the client side scripting is making a call? Client side scripting is making a call to server by using AJAX. So it is a AJAX call. When the response, any request that is made to the server side database or server side with AJAX, response will be coming in the form of JSON. So whatever the JSON I received, I was trying to display on the page. This is what I have discussed as the first point. What is the second point we have discussed? MVC. MVC in the Lightning. In the MVC in the Lightning, if you take a MVC in the visualforce, we had a visualforce as a view, Apex as a controller, and database as a model, object as a model. Whereas in the Lightning, we had a client side MVC, server side. So client side MVC means in the client side itself we have model, view, controller. If you want to interact with the server side, client side controller will make a request to server side, then it will be meeting server side MVC. I hope you are clear with this. Any query on these 2 points? Okay, right. Let's go to the next one. Differences.
Satish,
yes.
Couple of queries.
Yeah.
as we are making Ajax calls to the server side, right? Can we make a number of calls?
Yes.
A number of Ajax calls to
can make it. No issue.
Okay. As soon as it's been processed and we will be getting the JSON response, right?
Yes.
How do this JSON response will be encrypted, or it will be analyzed
That's
to the client side?
What is the
Okay, we do have a components to do that, right?
No. That's what we are going to learn as Lightning.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Now, let's go to the next one. Let us understand. Okay. Look at this. Now, when you go to this difference, I just copied the slide from somewhere. Okay. So, what was this difference between visualforce and Lightning component? So, basically, visualforce is what? You are going to build like a page. Entire thing we are going to build like a page. How many times we have created a custom components in visualforce? Most of the time we are spending in using existing components and building the page. Or did we show interest in creating a custom components? Okay, the custom component concept is same like your Lightning. The custom component concept is same like your Lightning, but we are showing more interest in using the existing component rather than building our own components. Now, what is the advantage of going for a custom components, and what is the disadvantage of going for a standard components? You are building a visualforce page with a standard components. Now, can you make any changes on the page block table? Can you change the properties of the page block table? Now, when you say page block table, right, it will come in a proper structure. I cannot change the basic view of page block table. I can change the data in the table, but I cannot bypass the basic structure of the page block table because it is a built-in component. But if I create same page block table using my functionality, if I create my own component called a page block table, I think we have done one list view component, right? List view component we have done where we can display a list of records. When I design my own component, if anything changes I have to make on the page block structure, what I will do? I will not modify the page. I will not modify each and every page. I will go to that component. I will make the changes on that component. Automatically, the changes are reflected in every page where we have used that component. Did you get my point? Do you have an access to modify? Do you have an access to modify the standard components of visualforce? No, we are using it. Any changes if you want to make, I have to go to the every page where I have used, change the structure. Now I am using a page block. I am getting a proper structure, but I want to say display only 1 to 10 rows. In 4 pages, I am using page block table. Now I want to say wherever I am using page block table, it has to display records, first record to 10 records. Then what I will do? Go to every page and use the Apex page block table. There you modify 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 10. Now, when you modify the visualforce page, save again, entire page is recompiled. Because this is like a page. It is running like a page. Any change that you make on the page and save back, it will compile. It will recompile the entire page. It will recompile entire page. Right. But if you design like a visualforce components, if you design your own visualforce component, what is the advantage? Now, if I want to change, don't go to every page and modify. Go to the component and give an attribute, display 1 to 10. Now, automatically, which is getting compiled? Only the component which you modified, only that component is getting compiled. Automatically, all the pages are getting modified. So, now what is the advantage of it? The load time will be reduced. Compile time will be reduced. Right? The same concept by default applied for everything, which is a Lightning. Now, in some of the cases where you want to use the same functionality in multiple pages, we are going for a Lightning. Okay, we are going for a visualforce component. But Lightning says everything you have to design like a component only. I will not give you any built-in components. You have to design every component. How you are designing a page, like that you have to design every component. There we design a page, here we design a component. Are you getting my point? So that's what the first one. Monolithic, unless developer use visualforce components and templates. unless you create your own templates or custom components. Otherwise, the page is what? You are building like a single page. Whenever you make any change, entire page is going to be modified. Whereas in the Lightning, we don't build pages. We build components. We join these components and say it's a page. We don't build pages. We build components, join 4 or 5 components and say this is a page. Whenever you want to make any changes, look at this. I will build components. Component 1, component 2, component 3, component 4. Component may have subcomponent. I am going to build this, join all the components, and I will say it is an application. Now, if I want to make any changes, in this, if I want to make any changes on this, what I will do? I will not modify the application. What I will do? I will go to this component to make the changes. Automatically, the changes will be applied on this application. Now we are building individual components, joining them. Whereas in the visualforce, one page we are building, unless you go for your own templates or components. The basic design pattern of visualforce is create a page with predefined components. Even though we have a custom component concept, but we will be using very less regularly. We got very less habit of using the custom components. But whereas in the Lightning, everything should be designed like a custom component only. I hope you are clear. Right. That's what framework enforces developers to break the application to number of components. Then we can build single page applications even using visualforce. But the only thing is we have to use some extra scripting functions like Ajax, AngularJS, React. This type of scripting I have to use. Okay, Bootstrap, AngularJS, React. If I include those things in the visualforce, I can also build what I am building with Lightning. Whatever you are building with Lightning, same thing I can rebuild in the visualforce page, provided externally if I include JavaScript, AngularJS, React, and some other scripting and CSS. If I use those Bootstrap and all those things, I can get exactly what Lightning is doing. But here, what is the drawback? If I have to add everything, then the basic concept of automation will be lost. We are going to the visualforce or Salesforce because easy to build. Again, if I have to include all the scripting and everything externally, then the process becomes complex. Now, simple funda boss. If you go for an Apex page block table, the same I can write with HTML. In some of the cases, we have used a table, tr, td, and build a table. Whenever we are learning a repeat concept, data is coming sequentially. If you want, we applied table, tr, td, and made a table. So whatever the page block table is giving, the same I can build with HTML also. But what is the problem? You have to write entire code. If it is a page block table, simply I can say Apex page block table, value equal to so and so, var equal to a, column, the complete structure with built-in CSS will come. It is making my work easier. If I don't use the built-in components of visualforce, I have to design my own HTML and CSS to get the structure. Now, we can implement it with HTML and CSS. We can implement it with visualforce component. Why are you going for visualforce component? Because things are becoming easy. Similarly, when you go to visualforce, I can build single page applications, but externally I have to write a code for AngularJS, JavaScript, jQuery. If I have to write entire code, it becomes a complex work for me. But whereas in the Lightning, it is a built-in framework. In the Lightning, it is a built-in framework. Already that framework is included. So no need of writing all the complex code. Already interconnections are there. Just write the required logic that will run like a single page application. The framework itself is a single page. It is an event-driven architecture. Are you getting my point? The framework itself is event-driven. So no need of externally you applying the concept of event-driven to achieve the single page. That is the reason we are going for Lightning. So it is not that what is available in the Lightning cannot be achieved in visualforce. It can be, but we are supposed to write extra code, extra logics, and extra scriptings. It becomes complex for you. Whereas something is coming to you as ready-made, I will try to use it. As simple as that. I hope you are clear. Clear for everyone? Now, how the lightning development will be done? I told you, lightning development is like a components. You take a mobile phone. If you take a mobile phone, what you are doing? If you go for a mobile phone, individual parts are there: battery, keypad, screen. Okay, then pouch. What we are doing? All the components are designed individually. When you take a laptop, RAM is manufactured by somebody, hard disk is manufactured by somebody, cables are manufactured by somebody. What the Dell company will do? Will purchase different components from different companies, right? Assemble them and make and give you. Now, if the RAM is spoiled, will you throw the computer? Now, what do we do? If RAM is spoiled, we'll repair only RAM. Hard disk is spoiled, we'll replace only hard disk. Why? Because they're assembled. They're assembled. Now, same thing, you take a Reliance phone. If the phone is not working, throw. You cannot repair because it's a entire thing is packed. Entire thing is packed. It's not assembled. It's entire thing is packed. It will not work for any other. Now, if you take any other mobile phone, it's assembled. You can replace as per your choice. If any problem is there, you can take that particular component and replace it. So it is assembled. Assembling of number of components. Assembling of number of components. I hope you are clear. So at the same time, when you go to the lightning, it's event driven. It is like a publish and subscribe model. It is like a publish and subscribe. Boss, I am firing an event. Now it's just like I am pushing my material in the Facebook. Whoever is following me, they'll get the material. I publish it, you subscribe it. I publish it, you subscribe it. Who can subscribe? Whoever is subscribing, all of them will get that event. So it is in the form of what? Event driven. Push, okay, publish and subscribe. Now I am one component, I publish it in event. Whoever is subscribing me, all of them will get the changes made on me. Whoever is subscribing me, all of them will get the changes made by me. I am making a change, like right now, name Satish. Here we had a element, name Satish. Here we are having a component. In the component A, I am giving name Satish, age 33. Now, component 2, component 3, all these components are subscribing. I pushed it. Now, number of components are subscribing. So all the components who are subscribing, they will get the notification about my modification. Whatever the modifications that I am making, all of them. This component is only taking my name. Satish. This component is only listening to my name. This component is listening to only my phone number. This component is listening to both name and phone number. What happened? Now any changes that are made on my component will be automatically notified to all the components who are following me. So the changes will be automatically applied for everyone. Changes will be automatically applied for everyone because it's an event driven architecture. Are you getting my point? It is like a publish and subscribe model. Entire application will be running in the concept of publish and subscribe model. I hope you got a basic idea about what is this differences you got. Okay. Then what is the next one we had? So what is this? What is this Salesforce Lightning? We keep on using a word called Salesforce Lightning. What this Salesforce Lightning is? Basically, it is used to build responsive application for any device. Now, if I build an application, now it will be automatically, when you say enterprise application, websites if you build on mobile is one format. Websites if you build, it is automatically responsive on mobile, tablet and your desktop. But when you go to enterprise applications, I want to make those applications responsive. Now based on your device, auto responsive. So we want to build responsive application for any device, then I'll go for Lightning. Now any device means mobile, tab, desktop. When application is only one, then why should I build 3 applications? One for mobile, one for desktop, one for tab. I want to be auto responsive. So we can use this. You can use this to build a responsive application for any device. Then Lightning will be basically using 2 technologies. Lightning basically uses 2 technologies. What are the 2 technologies? Lightning components, Lightning app builder. So what is that Lightning component? I told you, smallest units, reusable codes. Now your Lightning will be using 2 technologies. One is Lightning components, other one is Lightning app builder. When you say Lightning components, just now we discussed. Okay, what is that? This is a reusable units of the apps. I can use the same component number of times, like VF page, page block table. How many times you can use page block table? Number of times. Is it only in that particular page you can use? No, I can use this component in any page, any number of times. Same, your components are what? Reusable units of application. Then components give you, client server framework. Components give you client server framework. Client side MVC, server side MVC, and interconnections. Then what is that Lightning app builder? Lightning app builder is what? Building the application with a drag and drop model. Lightning app builder is what? Building the application with a drag and drop. Instead of writing a program, whatever the components are there, components provided by the Salesforce, components created by you, components coming from purchased packages. Using those components, I want to build an application with a drag and drop model. App builder is like a Visual Studio. It's like a schema builder. The schema builder, what you're doing? Dragging and dropping and building whatever you want. Similarly, using app builder, we can build applications by using the components provided by the Salesforce or custom components what you have created, or the components which are coming from packages which you have installed or purchased. So app builder is a drag and drop model. Lightning components are creating a reusable entities. So these 2 will be used in the Lightning. Both of these together will give you Salesforce Lightning. In the Salesforce Lightning development, there are only 2 things what we are going to understand. What is that? Lightning components, Lightning app builder. If you understand these 2, that will become Lightning. But to understand this, it will take 40 to 50 classes. Right. That is only the difference. I hope you are good with this. Any query from your end? The basic idea is clear.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
Existing applications what are there in Classic, those all, if we need to migrate to Lightning, then for what kind of assessments we need to do?
That is, if you want to migrate, here's a question. Already existing application is in Classic. So how do you migrate to Lightning? Now there is a checking the readiness of your Lightning application. So internally we have an option. If we enable that option, Salesforce will generate a report for you and give you. And they say, boss, these are the functionalities what we are using, and these are the functionalities which are available in the Lightning. These are not available. As these are not available, rebuild. So it generate a report for you and give you. Okay, based on that report, I will convert it. A quick idea. As somebody has asked me, so how to convert existing applications into let me show you how to migrate. So the moment you log in, what you are finding here? The moment you log in, what you are finding here? Lighting. Just click on this. When you click on this, now here you'll be having an option. Turn it. First, check it. Readiness. First, before you migrate, if already your application is running on, if your application is running on Classic, if you want to convert it to Lightning, first you have to click on check readiness. Check the readiness. When you click on this readiness, the Salesforce will give one report. They'll send you one PDF file which contain, boss, these are the functionalities what are available in the Classic for you, which you are using or which you developed or which I am providing, and these are supported in the Lightning. These are not supported. These functionalities need to be recreated. Like that, they create a report for you and give it. After looking at the report, we know what need to be created first before migrating. If everything is okay, we will say okay. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Then preview. When I say preview, how this application is now, it's in a Classic. How this application will look like? How this application will look like in Lightning. So just give a preview. It will not convert. Just show you the preview how it looks in Lightning. Just showing a preview of it. Then optimize the features, then creation of your domains and all those stuff. We'll come back to this. Now, for whom the Lightning should be there? Now, you want the Lightning to be available for which users? Now, for every user you want to give, or for which user? Because for every license it will not be supporting. If you purchase a database.com license, it will not support. If you purchase a work.com license, it will not support. If you take an integration user license, it will not support. Our general licenses are what? Salesforce license, Salesforce platform, authentication, identity, and we have again charter, communities. For those licenses, it is going to support. If anybody has purchased database.com license, anybody has purchased knowledgebase.com license, anybody has purchased knowledge only license, anybody has purchased work.com license, for those licenses, Lightning is not supported. So, whom we can add? Which user? Which users you want to add? So, these users will get Lightning features. Okay. Then turn it on. It will be converting into Lightning. It will be converting into Lightning. All right. So, this is first check the readiness, get the report. After you get the report, then analyze it. Then you check whether it is suitable to migrate immediately or any customizations need to be done on existing functionalities before you migrate. Right, boss? Okay. Now, this is how we are creating. Yes.
Okay. In that report, we will get complete information what we need to build in Lightning.
Exactly. Right.
And those things we are going to learn now in further classes.
What is that?
Means whatever we need to build in that report, we will get information about what we need to build.
Now, some functionality you have created that is not supported in the Lightning, let us say. Now, let us say, now, let me give you, as you ask the question again. This is a good document for this. Let me give you. If you look at the standard documentation of Salesforce, they are given a comparison charts. Now look at this. This is how the functionalities are given. So if you go for Lightning, all these standard objects are supported. Lightning supports all the following standard objects. Classic also supporting. Calendar events, assets. Now if you look at this, first one is Lightning. Classic is not supporting performance chart, assistant chart, news, key details. They are not available in the Classic. We are getting in the Lightning. Then similarly, what is available, what is not available in the Lightning. So if you look at some of the functionalities, some are there in the Classic, few of them are not there in the Lightning. Look at this. Now, Classic has similar opportunities, big deal alerts. Whereas the lightning don't have the concept. So if you have any business rules which are defined on similar opportunities and big alerts, now if you convert into lightning, you don't get that functionality. But still you want those functionalities, then what should I do? I have to create a custom components for achieving that functionality, add them to your pages. Now your application is in the classic, you already have some rules related to big deal alerts, already have some rules related to similar opportunities, but they are not supported in the lightning. But you want those functionalities. So what should you do? You have to build custom functionality to achieve those. Now the custom functionality you have to achieve by using lightning component and add them to the pages and then convert it. Are you getting my point? So some of the functionalities which are there in the classic are not supported by the lightning. Some of them, most of the features are supported. Few options. If you look at the charts, you can look at this. Only what we found here. Big deal alert, similar opportunity. Apart from that, everything we are getting. Right, boss? So compare the chart, the same whatever the chart we are comparing, in the similar way they compare, check the existence of metadata, then give you a report. As per that, we can do it. Now we have solutions and SOS available in the classic, they are not available in the lightning. If you have any business rules, again they will notify you. Look at this. Follow reports, report notification, available in the lightning, not available in the classic. Schedule dashboard refresh, available in the classic, not available in the lightning. So if you have any functionalities which are already designed on those, that need to be re-implemented with the lightning component to have the same scope. Right. That's what the readiness is going to give you. Right, boss?
Okay.
Now, what is not available in the lightning? These are the things which are not available in the lightning. Just go through this will be keep changing time to time based on the version. Go through the latest document and see what is not available or not supported in the lightning. What is not supported in the lightning. We can go through it and get the idea what are available in the classic, which are not supported in the lightning. Additional features will get it, no problem. But what is there in the classic, not available in the lightning, these are the concerned topics.
Since we don't have any version for lightning and like the same thing which we follow for Salesforce, that is the same version, right?
Same. See, now your version control is different from the lightning versioning in the Salesforce. Your Salesforce is not a versioning. Now the version of the application they are giving, version of the API. So it doesn't make any difference. Basically, if you are going for an application with version controlling, there is a scope of asking like whatever version we upload it. Is the Salesforce version is same for lightning as well as classic, because same API, same. Only difference is we used to call force.com platform. Now they are calling lightning platform. As simple as that. Because I am promoting lightning, I made lightning platform. Tomorrow, if I introduce something as XYZ platform, I want to sell one more product called XYZ, I'll say XYZ platform. That is my company, is my product.
Okay,
nothing.
thank you.
Right. I hope I'm clear. Okay. Chalo. Let's start with the next one. How to start with your lightning. If you want to start with your lightning, the primary thing is you are supposed to create a domain. Why domain? What is the advantage of having your own domain? Right now, we are going with login.salesforce.com. What is the advantage of having your own domain? If you create a domain, what is the extra advantage we are going to get? If I create a domain, I can customize my login page. Right now, whatever the standard login page you are getting, that can be customized. Example. Now, this page they embedded. Now, basically, what is this page? What is this page? They are using a Salesforce. It's a Salesforce login actually. We log in, you'll get into the Salesforce login screen. Right. So basically, if you have your own custom domain, if you are going with your custom domain, you can customize your login pages. Second, login properties. Now if I go for a domain, I can say login with Salesforce, login with Facebook, login with the Google Plus. Now most of the website when I open, what they get? Login with Facebook. Website is Amazon, but they say login with Facebook, login with Google Plus. The type of security settings or login settings we can modify when you have domain. When I have domain, I can say log into Salesforce from Facebook, username, password. Log into the Salesforce with LinkedIn, username, password. Log into Salesforce with Gmail, username, password. That login security issues we can modify if you have your own domain. With the login.salesforce.com, I cannot create this. I can allow the people from external. I can allow the people with external IDs to log into my organization only when I have my custom domain. Like I can create at the bottom. At the bottom, I can keep Facebook, LinkedIn, Gmail, Twitter. Click on the Facebook, enter your Facebook username, password, log into Salesforce. Provided the corresponding settings are set. If you want to set that authentications, authorizations, then we need to have your own domain ID. With the login.salesforce.com, we cannot do it. The second, first issue is customization of login page. Second issue is we can authorize the people to log into our application with a third party. So modifying login settings. Third one. Now, if I use login.salesforce.com, how many accounts I can open on a single browser? I opened this login.salesforce.com working. If I give login.salesforce.com and I give another organization username, password, what will happen? The old will be lost, new will be coming. At a time, only one org we can work. At a time, I can only work with one production or one sandbox, or one production, one sandbox. Only one production will open on one browser. Right. I want to work with multiple organizations, multiple environments I want to work. Okay, production 1, production 2, production 3, I want to work on the same browser. Then it is not possible unless you create domain. If you create your own domain, then IPs will be, then your domains will be different. So I'll be able to work from a single browser. Right now, from one browser, I can log into only one account's production. If I try to log into another account, old is lost and new one is open. But if I go for your IP address, I can work with multiple org accounts from a single page. I hope you are good with this. So if you create your own domain, login page can be customized. Second one, login settings can be customized, and I can work with multiple orgs from the single browser. Now, how your domain names will be? Domain name will not be same for everyone, boss. Format of domain name. If you create a domain name on Sandbox, format is different. Production domain name is different. Developer edition is different. Right now, you are creating a domain name on developer edition. The URL will be different. So let us see domain URL. I hope. Let me create. Look at this. For a sandbox, you will be getting a different structure. Let us see what type of structure we are going to get. So look at the structure here. Now, yeah. I'll just show the structure, otherwise I'll type it. basically when you go for it, what will happen? Your company name, then followed by your edition, your developer edition. You go with a sandbox, company name edition, your server instance will come in the domain name, your server NA0, NA1, like that you will be getting. If it is a production, we don't get like that. So because we have a developer edition, I can show the developer edition. Sandbox, okay. Chalo, let me create. I'll create a domain name on the sandbox. I'll create and show you. So how are you creating this domain name? Setup, administer, domain management, my domain. So look at this. Now how we are getting name of your company dot your sandbox name dot your server instance dot mysalesforce.com. How are you getting here? Your company name dot your sandbox name dot instance of your sandbox dot my.salesforce.com. This is for sandbox. Your company name and hyphen sandbox hyphen instance of your sandbox dot my.salesforce.com. Now same, I am logging into. I'll try to create from my production. So your production, developer and sandbox, all the three have different formats. Let me go to my production. In the production, we had a domain management. What was that? Your company name dot my dot salesforce. Your company name dot my dot salesforce.com. So here the production will be coming as company name dot my dot salesforce.com. Again, there in the developer edition, you get a developer hyphen your developer environment. The URL for the developer edition is different. You get a developer edition. Developer ED we are going to get. So production is company name dot my dot salesforce.com. Right? It's for the production. So same, let us go to your trial version. So let me create one separate account for you. So right. So let us create the domain. If you want to run the Lightning components, it is a must that you have to have a domain. With the login.salesforce.com, you cannot write Lightning application. If you want to run a Lightning application or a components, it is a must that you should have custom domain. Your organization should have your own domain name. Then only you can create or run Lightning components. So let us see this example. I am running this application. Lightning components require domain. Please contact your system administrator. So without creation of domain, you will not be able to run the Lightning application. Lightning application developed through programming. So what I am doing, I was supposed to create my domain name. So go to user interface. What you are finding here, company, settings, my domain. So what is the format in which you are receiving? Dev edition mysalesforce.com. So if it is a production, company name my.salesforce.com, sandbox, your company name, sandbox name, server instance my.salesforce.com. If it is a developer edition, dev edition my.salesforce.com. Check the availability, register the domain. Already taken by someone else. Register the domain. So it takes some time to activate the domain. So once this domain is activated, then we'll be able to run it. What is the first prerequisite? If you want to work with the Lightning, what is the first prerequisite? We are supposed to create a domain. We are supposed to create our own domain. So let's wait for the file to complete. So before the domain is created, let us have a quick overview of Lightning view. In the Lightning, in the classic, you find applications on the right corner. Here we say application tab, list of applications, list of applications. Then we get a scroll down, we find. Second, if you want to see a list of all the tabs, on the tab panel, we have a plus sign. When you click on the plus sign, we get list of all the tabs. Here, the tabs will be at the bottom. These are the list of tabs what are available. There in the classic, what we do, in the tab panel, we have plus sign. We click on the plus sign, we get list of all the tabs. But here in the Lightning, the tabs are available at the bottom. We can see. These are the list of applications. These are the list of tabs. Okay. The next one. Then, search setup. Searching for a particular user. Now, look at the point. This is a user, logout, switch to classic. Logout, switch to classic. If you want to switch back to classic, this is a switch to classic. Then add username. If you want to add any user to Lightning, we can add here. Add this user to Lightning. So settings, logout, switch to classic. Then this is a notifications. Any alerts, notifications. This is a setup menu. There we guide, find what? Username, setup we find. Here also here, setup, developer console. Setup, service setup and developer console. Setup, developer console. Then here, any help documents you require, you can go with the help documents. Then quick action. These are global actions. Log a call, poll, whatever you find on the top of the record. Okay, post a message. Okay, polls, survey, question, all the quick action. Okay, global action. Global actions will be seen here. Then here, when you go to the when you go to the next, generally in the classic, what do you find? In the classic, you find setup, administer, build, deploy, monitor. What are the 4 options? Force.com options we are going to find. Force.com options we can find as administer, build, deploy, monitor. But whereas here you'll be finding administration, platform tools, then company settings. What are these? Administration, platform tools, and settings. What are the 3? Administration, platform tools, and settings. So the navigation process is different here compared to the classic. The navigation process is completely different here compared to the classic. Now, okay. So let us see. Let me give you. As the navigation is different, you can search for the option from here. So let us see whether a file is created or not.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
On settings, we have setup and service setup. 2 options are there.
What is the service cloud first? Then we understand the service setup.
Oh, both are different.
Yeah, different. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sir.
What is your query? Sigurbarthno. Cheppu. It will be shown here also that it is completed. When it is done, you'll be getting a readiness here. Okay. Okay. So before that, let us give 2 other formats. So we have the namespace. Namespace also given here. So in the Lightning, if you want to use it, it takes some time. Before it takes, let us complete one more a quick introduction about namespace. Generally, what is the purpose of namespace? I think in the integration class also we had discussion today. What is the namespace? Group of similar elements are grouped. Okay, all the related elements are grouped under one name. All the functionalities related to one, all the related functionalities are grouped under one name, which is called a namespace. As I told you, now in the morning we had an integration class. Now we have a Lightning class. Now there is a person called Kumar sitting in the integration, Kumar sitting in the Lightning. There are 3 Kumars in my integration Lightning. When I say Kumar, there is a Kumar in the integration, there is a Kumar in the Lightning. Who will respond? Now there is a question, ambiguity. Now that's why I told Kumar in the Lightning class. Now only you will be responding. So all the people who are attending this Lightning, for you, I created a group number called 0103. So this is your batch number. So all these people have got a batch number of 0103. So when you make a call to front desk, they'll ask you, what is your batch number? When you say 0103, then they'll be sharing the corresponding information or material. Right? So all the people who are attending this batch, okay, all of you are related to this batch. So for you, I have given a name called 0103. Otherwise, what happened? If you make a call, I am Kumar, in the entire database, there are a lot of Kumars. Then how do I understand? So what they have done? All the related things they have grouped under one name, which is called namespace. Now, how do you refer this? How do you use this namespace? One last time, let me check. Otherwise, I'll go to. Okay. Now, how do you use this? How do you refer this in the namespace? Listen to the point. In the visualforce, you are using apex colon, right? Why are you writing that apex colon? Or else, some cases you also wrote force, okay, interview, force, C colon, custom component C colon we have written, right? So why are you writing apex colon? Why are you writing force colon? Why are you writing C colon? There is a namespace. All the components which are designed for the UI by the Salesforce, they are kept under a namespace called apex colon. So like that, if you are creating any namespace is not a must. if that lightning application what you are building is for internal purpose, this namespace is a must. If you want to deliver this application to some other people, if you want to deliver this application outside your organization, anybody outside your organization want to reuse the components what you have created or functionality what you created, I have to create a namespace and deliver it. Let us say, boss, you went to App Exchange, there is an application called recruiting app, you told install. Already in your organization there is a table called position. Now we are going and installing App Exchange, going to the App Exchange, installing recruiting app. When install, in the recruiting app also there is an object called position, but already in your organization there is an object called position. Now when two objects are created in the same arc, let us say they are created. Now when I say position, which object are you referring? So if you are trying to deliver any application or a functionality or a component outside your organization using Lightning, then namespace is a must. If you are building within your organization for internal purpose, namespace is not mandatory. Namespace is not mandatory if you are trying to use that Lightning application within your organization. Outside the organization, you want to deliver like a package. If you want to deliver this application like a package to any other organization, then namespace is a must. If you are using a namespace, look at this. This is how we are giving. If you don't give any namespace, we say C:, in the place of namespace we use what? C:, component name, C:, interface. Then if you want to use any Apex class, straight away class name. If you want to use any object, straight away object name. If you want to use a field, straight away field name. Same if you go with a namespace. If you create a namespace, every element you want to refer should be referred with namespace. Namespace : component, namespace : event, namespace : interface, namespace : class, namespace : object, namespace : field. Look at it. Even the field also, your namespace __ amount __ c. Every element you are trying to refer should be referred with namespace : that is the reason, unless you are giving this application outside, we don't create namespace. Otherwise, the program become lengthy format. Are you getting my point? So, is the namespace is a must? It is not a must. But if you want to deliver it outside the Salesforce, it is a must. What is the purpose of the namespace? That is to avoid naming conflicts. The namespace is used for avoiding naming conflict. I hope you are clear. Clear about the namespace. Okay. Now look at this domain. Now domain is ready. What is the option we got? Login. When you logged in, you got here login dot. Okay. Now it is changed here. Now we have created. Once you have created, what is the option we had? Deploy to. Click on deploy to users. Now you can change. Boss, you want the people to log in only from Lightning 0103 dev edition, or you want the people to log in from login.salesforce.com. Even though you create a domain, people can log in from your domain as well as login.salesforce.com. You don't want to people to log in with the login.salesforce.com, you can go to login policy. You can say enable. If you enable this, what happened? Only you can log in from edition, your domain name. I hope I am clear with this. So we have created a domain. Once you have created a domain, go back to your application, run it again. Now you got this is first tab. Right, boss? So this is how we have created a domain. Once you create a domain, your Lightning applications and Lightning components will run. I hope you are clear with this. So what are the steps involved in creation of domain? The first topic. So you know how to access your material, right? Steps to create domain.
Satish, even can we create this domain for the, I mean, apart from the lightning, for the visual?
We can create. We can create. For lighting, it is a must.
Okay, thank you.
What is the navigation we had? If you want to go with a classic, in the classic navigation is setup, administer, domain management. Then we had my domain, enter domain name, check the availability, once domain name is active, click on login, click on deploy to all users. Same domain name if you want to create in the lightning. In the lightning, how do you create? It's not username. So setup, this icon. When you click on setup, you get the setup menu. Then we got settings, company settings, my domain, process is the same. What is the navigation we have? We have setup, company settings, my domain, the same story. So creating the domain, once the domain is created, then I'll be able to run the application.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Can we create only one domain for a
Only one domain will be created. Not one domain. You cannot create. Only one domain will be created. Once you create, you will not be able to deactivate. You will not be able to change it.
Okay. Thank you.
Domain will running the lightning.
Yeah, Satish, I have a question.
Yes.
So if there is any existing domain in the classic version,
The
can
same
we
domain
use
you
the
can
same
use it.
domain?
See, boss. Company
Okay.
will have only one domain. If it's already created the
Yeah.
classic or lighting, doesn't make a difference. I need a
Yeah, so
domain.
it's not mandatory. Yeah, it's not mandatory that we need to create a domain name
No,
when we
not necessary.
migrate to. Okay.
Domain name. Once it is created, it cannot be deactivated or modified. Developer edition. It's a developer edition. How are you getting your domain name? custom domain name, basically it will be a company name, box name. This is how we are giving. What are the advantages of having a custom domain? We can customize login page. We can customize login settings, login from single sign-on. We can work with multiple orgs. This is how we are getting. Boss, it's a very basic question. How do you know the server instance? You'll be finding in the URL, right? The moment you log in, you'll be finding on URL. Go to your URL, you'll be finding the server instance. It is AP4. AP4. What is the other way we can find? What is the other way we can find? Go to once you log into your organization, you'll be finding whether it's a production array. So, if it is a once you log in to your organization, under the company profile, we have company information. You'll be finding the information about the server what you are using. In case if you have a domain name enabled, if it is a production, your domain name is enabled, you are getting a domain name on the top. You're not finding an instance of your server. You want to find out the instance of your server. Go to company profile, company information. You can find what instance is this. Right, boss. So this is how we have created a domains, and these are the advantages of going for a domain. Then namespace. Namespace. What is the use of namespace? It is a collection of related elements under one name. This is used to avoid naming conflicts. Elements can be class, object, pages, components, interfaces. If you want to deliver application or functionality outside your organization, namespace is a must. Steps to create namespace. Steps 2, create namespace. How will you create the namespace? Don't create the namespace, boss. Check it out. Don't complete the operation. Okay. Look at this. How will you create the namespace? Under the packages, you'll be finding create packages. Now we had here developer packages. What you are finding here? Namespace. Check the availability. It is available. Review my selection. Then when I click on save, it will be creating this thing. So I'm not creating. If you create, everything has to be referred with namespace. So what is the process here? Setup, build, create packages. Then we have edit, continue, enter the namespace, check the availability, review, and save. Again, I'm suggesting don't create. Setup, continue. Go on review. This is how we are giving a namespace. So if we create a namespace, if namespace is created, if the namespace is created, how do you refer? Namespace dot class name, namespace dot object name, namespace dot everything should be prefixed with your namespace. Namespace underscore, not straight away. Namespace underscore. Look at the quick documentation what I have opened here. So your namespace underscore object, namespace class name, namespace class name. If it is an object, namespace underscore object name. I'll give here. Field name.
Satish.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I mean, if there is any issue with the namespace, maybe after deploying for any related, I mean,
now
related to any kind of functionality.
Unique throughout the Salesforce organization, not only for your company. The namespace name is unique throughout the entire Salesforce. Now, how you got your 18 character record ID, which is unique throughout the Salesforce, okay, entities. Like that, the namespace is unique throughout. It is throughout. So if you are deploying a package, we already have an option. What is that? Deploy all, or it will be reverting back. So generally, when you go for a deployment using ant, there is an option. Okay, what should happen in case of failure? Revert back, revoke all. So mention what need to happen if there is a failure in the ant. Automatically, it will be reverting back.
Okay.
This is how we have created. Quick examples I have given. So namespace creation and domain creation. So your org is ready for working with the Lightning. Your org is ready for working with the Lightning. As I told you, there are two things available: Lightning component bundles. Other one is Lightning app builder. Lightning app builder is what? Drag and drop model. Just I'll show a quick example of it before we wind. So what is some new query somebody has asked? What is that?
Sir, if we have any custom fields on a standard objects and all, then how we can call through our.
How do you use a custom field on standard object? Object name dot.
If I customize, my
C will be used. Doesn't matter whether it's a standard object or a custom object. If it is a custom field, it will have underscore C. Now, let me give you. So I forgot to mention one point at the beginning. What is the prerequisite for learning this course? Right. If you want to learn Lightning, you should have a prerequisite of a basic idea about classic Apex programming, and then it will be easy for you to understand what exactly it is. So, and also you should have the basic administrative level. What is an object? What is a field? How the workflows, automation? That should be basic idea. You should have it. Okay. Then, if you have basic idea about how the JavaScript will be written, basic idea about JavaScript, and knowing idea about CSS is added advantage. These are the prerequisites. You should have Apex knowledge and the administrative basic level knowledge like object creation, field creation, how they are referred, workflow automation. Right. Then I will be assuming that you know all of this, and I'll be starting the development. Okay. Right, boss. Fine. That's all from my end for the day. So we'll continue.
Actually.